Hey guys, it's Javier. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about two movies. One of them is a short film here on YouTube, Slaybor Day 7, and the other one is none other than the HorrorPack exclusive Nefarious. But before we get into the video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new here. I'd definitely love to have you. Also though, be sure to ring the bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Let's get into the video. Alright, now to start. Slaybor Day 7. It's a short film here on YouTube, and this movie, or this short film, follows the life of serial killer, what's his name? Maddox Mason. And he only kills people who wear white after Labor Day. Why? I don't know. But the way this movie is shot, it's shot mockumentary style, so it's like kind of like an expose on like the serial killer Maddox Mason, and it's about 10 minutes long. So this movie is pretty much it. It's a guy doing a documentary, like detailing the rise and fall of the serial killer, and like the serial killer has like he has like this like huge fan base, and he has like made like tons of movies. And the way this video is like, or this short film is shot, it's composed of like a lot of like, like little mini interviews, people praising this Maddox Mason, and it's really fun. I think that probably is like the best part of like this like horror short is like all the fake little interviews, and like there's like even like one of the interviewers on, or one of the people giving like a like a little interview that's like a YouTuber, which kind of like fits perfect, in this day and age. Because, everybody nowadays is like on YouTube and watches everything on YouTube or on Netflix. So it kind of fits. And like one of the best things about this movie, one of the things that I really, really did like about this short film is like the mother's interview itself. I think that part is worth watching, or makes this film worth watching alone. Like, her interview is funny. It's comedic gold, honestly. It's great. One of the things that I do like about this is that this is obviously a horror comedy, which is not really my thing when it comes to like watching like anything horror. I prefer the two to be completely separate, but it works in like the style that this short horror film is like filmed in, because it's like, again, it's like only 10 minutes long, so it's not like completely over the top. And I really do think comedy does work in this instance, because it's not like overused, and it's not like like full length, like a full 90-minute long movie or anything, unlike the Scream series, which is known for being comedic most of the time. One of the things about this movie, it's very, very meta. It's a meta kind of movie, so it's very self-aware, which again, for this kind of movie, it definitely works. And as you get, and as this movie continues down, like you pick up on stuff. Like, one of the things that I pick up on, and this movie kind of, or this short film touches on, is that without a final girl in a slasher movie does not work. There kind of has to be a final girl. Like, you take the final girl out of the equation, it's probably gonna be a shit movie. So for anybody out there making slasher movies, or for like these studios, they want to change it up and think it's an okay idea to take out the final girl, they probably shouldn't do that, because the movie's not gonna go anywhere afterwards. That's a killer of a series right there, in my opinion. Another thing you kind of do get from this is that slasher movies tend to get a lot of sequels, like the Halloween series, the Friday the 13th series especially. And sometimes it gets to be a little too much. At some point you kind of got to know when to call it quits. So that's something that I feel like the short film touches on. Like, your slasher hero slash villain, whatever you want to call him, could only be good for so long, eventually it's gonna start running dry if you keep trying to do the same thing repeatedly. Like, how many times can you have a killer like killing a person on screen? Like, it kind of gets overdone. So that's another thing that I did pick up from this that I really do kind of like that they kind of touch on. I mean, I don't know if the writer and director were necessarily going for that kind of message, but it's just kind of stuff as a viewer that I caught on, and honestly made it very enjoyable. So with this short film, again, horror comedy is not really my thing, but this one was honestly really well done, and I do really like this one, so I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10, and that's a very good score considering I really again don't like horror comedies, but it does work in this movie, and I do think horror comedy or comedy in horror works in low doses like this one. So if you haven't seen this movie, I'll leave a link down below so that you guys could click on that and go check out this short film and subscribe to them, because they did a really good job with this short film. So the next one we're going to talk about is Nefarious. This came as part of last month's HorrorPack, and this movie it's pretty much about it's about a group of friends, and like one of them owes like a drug dealer like I think $10,000. I think close to $10,000. So like one of his friends has been working for like a rich person, like, you know, cleaning their house and like taking care of like duties around. And she's kind of been scoping out this place, so like she like comes up with, or she tells him, and like they all just kind of come up with the idea to like go to this guy's house and like kind of like rob his stuff so that they can like sell stuff and make money to pay off this drug dealer. So, you know, it's a pretty simple premise. It's something that has definitely been done before. If like for anybody who hasn't seen the movie The Collector, that's pretty much like the same thing. But what this movie does, it's one of those movies it's only 78 minutes long, so it's a fairly short movie. But like for most of the movie, it's a very slow burn kind of movie. There's a lot of build up to this movie, like, and once you finally get down to like the whole like thing of it, like when they finally get down to the heist part of the movie, like it really kind of gets crazy from there. So this group of friends, while they're in the house, they find a safe that's like above like the, I think it was like the kitchen sink. I might be wrong. I saw this movie only one time. I do plan on watching it again. It was good, but um like they open one of them, the main guy, he opens the cabinet doors and he sees the safe there, and the girl, she supposedly has the code. So he's like typing in the code repeatedly, you know, and this code is obviously it's not the right code. But after he tries it a few number of times, like his hand gets blown off by the safe, which is pretty insane. It was a pretty gory scene, pretty enjoyable to watch actually, because you know the guy in this movie, he's not a very likable character. He's kind of a piece of shit. So they move on to another part of the house, which is actually like a guest house where there is another guy in this movie. He's kind of like he's mentally challenged, and he was left alone in this house. He lives in the guest house, and this rich guy is his brother. So like they move on to the guest house to, you know, since this guy is there, he might know what the actual combination is. So their plan is to go to this guest house and, you know, kind of like rough him up a little. But this is where the movie actually does kind of like really get kind of crazy. When they get in there, they find a like when they get in there, there's nobody to be found at all. Like he's nowhere. You just see his bed there. There's a bookshelf. So they're like looking through everything, see if they might find clues on what the actual combination is. Then they end up moving the bookshelf, and behind the bookshelf they find a door. So when they get they open the door and they go in there, and this is probably like the craziest part of like the whole movie. Like this whole last part of the movie is like full of stuff that you definitely really don't see coming. Because, and I'm not really gonna spoil it for you guys because it's the final act of this movie is really well done. That for me to just like give you guys all the details on this would like mess the whole movie up for you guys. But once you're in that, once they go in there, like it just the movie really just takes off from there in like the final 20 minutes, and it gets really really insane stuff that you really don't see coming, and it was really good. It was a good movie. One of the things that I again didn't really like about this movie is that normally I do like slow burn kind of movies, but with this movie being already only 78 minutes long, I kind of wish that the process would have been sped up a little, especially like the first 40 minutes. Like, you really don't know what kind of movie you're watching because it doesn't really feel like you're watching a horror movie at all, like the first 40 minutes. So that's one of the things that I did not like about this movie, that it wasn't as fast paced as it shouldn't have been, as it should have been for its length. That's really my only judgment on this movie. With this movie, I'm gonna give this one a 7 out of 10. You know, most of the time with the HorrorPack limited edition Blu-rays that they send, it's kind of hit or miss with those movies because some of them are just not good, and others could be good, and others are good. You know, you never know what you're gonna get. But this movie is honestly one that I would recommend. I'm gonna see if I could find it anywhere. I'm sure it's on Amazon. If I could find it, I'll definitely link that down below so that you guys could check it out because it's definitely worth the watch. Well, guys, as always, be sure to go follow me over on Instagram. I'll have that on the screen and down below as well. If you guys have seen any of these two movies, what did you guys think of them? Let me know down in the comments below. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.